how did DSCS come to be? Well, we have a debt of gratitude to folks in Boulder. DSCS was originally formed in 1991 in Boulder to restore those twin 60-foot dishes there on Table Mountain. So those dishes up at Table Mountain had been sitting idle for 20 years. And some hams and people around Boulder got permission to restore them, and they did. And they had some good success. And about the same time that DSCS formed, there was this kind of a splinter group, another group called EOSS. You've probably heard of them. It's the Edge of Space Sciences. They're the ones that launch weather balloons, and you can track them on APRS. So we'll have an APRS transponder on the weather balloon, and you can track it. And so EOSS started from some of the same people at the same time up in the Boulder area. I wonder. So yeah, I am missing part of it. And like I said, I think I didn't think of that when I came, is I might have to reformat them from a different size screen. But so after 9/11, hams lost access to Table Mountain. Table Mountain is a federal research site, the Site 22, T22. After 9/11, the attacks then, everything tightened down and clamped down. Hams lost access to that site. And so meanwhile, the Haswell site had been dormant from 1974 to 2009. Paul Plishner, he was a radar contractor in Boulder. He actually purchased the site at government auction. So you know how it is with the government. When the government is done with something, they have to wait 10 years and then they can actually auction it off. I don't know what he got it for, but he never actually used it. And these guys in Boulder at DSCS developed relations with him, and eventually he donated the site in Haswell to DSCS. So DSCS now owns that. It's the dish, and there's 5 acres there. And so what the Boulder group did, starting in about 2009, is they moved a comm trailer down there from Table Mountain, and it had equipment and gear, and they started refurbishing and restoring the dish in Haswell. And then, I think on this, there's a PDF on here that you can put on your computers, or you can read some of the other details later. So I'm going to talk about what's not shown on the slide, but the Boulder group started the restoration, and there was kind of a transition from Boulder to Colorado Springs as the Boulder group found out how far it is to drive down there. They would go down there and spend a weekend, but it's pretty rudimentary. We only got electricity a couple of years ago down there. The government ran it on generators. So the membership, but there were there was 3 people, especially key members, that they would spend weekends down there cleaning and getting the dust off and restoring that, and just rebuilding the whole thing. And they could do that because they had done it there for the Boulder dishes, so they kind of knew what to do with the same dish.
Please stand by while I can set up the repeater for net mode. PL off. The Denver Radio Club net will begin at 8:30. This is K0TR.
As the membership kind of transitioned into Colorado Springs, then over the last 3 or 4 years, it's more members from Colorado Springs area than there are from other parts. And we got electricity in there. If you live in the country, you know that if you're past the end of the line, you get to pay to bring the line down. And that money was donated. We've got internet down there right now, and it's just DSL, the old style DSL, but that's what we have. They've installed a complete new dish control system. It was an analog system, which still works, but we now have a completely automated dish control system for tracking. So we can track in azimuth and elevation, and that's just based on a Raspberry Pi and a little Linux laptop. So it's all digital. And so they've been doing those upgrades and adding ham radio capabilities as well. So there's kind of a dual capability there. Radio astronomy and ham radio both take place down there. And so I think the last line on this slide, as I said, thanks for the countless volunteer hours that got the whole thing operational again. It is operational now. For a good part of this year, it was not, because some parts in the string for the control for the dish failed. There's no replacement, so the companies are long gone.
QSD
That's when they
from the
redid the
Denver
whole.
Radio Club. Welcome to the Denver Radio Club Net, being held on repeater W0TX. This is a meeting held on air every Sunday evening at about 8:30 p.m. Good evening. My name is Jim. My call sign is Kilo Zero, Tango Oscar Romeo. I'll be your net control station transmitting from Littleton, Colorado. If there's any emergency or priority traffic during this net, say break at any pause, and the net will be suspended until the emergency or priority traffic is completed. This net is for Denver Radio Club members and all interested radio amateurs. We're here to share information concerning any ham-related activities. Regular meetings of the Denver Radio Club are held on the third Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. And with the COVID-19 restrictions still in place, we hold our meetings as virtual meetings, and we hold those on Google Meets. If you like the address for that website, you can get that on our club website on W0TX.org, or if you're on our internet mail, you'll get an email that lists that address for that website as well. Our next meeting will be on December the 15th, and Elmer's session is held at 6 p.m., just prior to our monthly meeting. And this session addresses any amateur radio questions you might have. So whether you're new to amateur radio or interested in some new application of amateur radio, this is a session where you can get help. Also, every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m., except the third Wednesday when our monthly meeting is held, there's a learning net held on 145.490 megahertz and 448.625 megahertz. This is another area where you can find answers for your amateur radio-related questions. As a general interest club, we provide emergency communication for the Salvation Army, City of Wheat Ridge Police Department, City of Lakewood Police Department, West Metro Fire District, and St. Anthony's West Hospital. We're always looking for members who would like to participate in this support. Please contact our club president if you'd like to help. Our current president is Jerry Vilhauer, W0GV. Jerry's telephone number is 303-467-0223. The Denver Radio Club website address is W0TX.org. Again, Jerry's telephone number is 303-467-0223. The Denver Radio Club also participates in the ARL Volunteer Examiner Program. And again, with the COVID-19 restrictions, we don't have set dates that we do testing. When we can actually get enough people interested, we can find a site to conduct the tests. We'll actually post that. We usually post that here on this net or always on our website, W0TX.org. If you have other questions regarding testing, you can contact our PE team lead, Tom Koszalski, KC2CAZ, at 720-284-1911. This is the Denver Radio Club Net, W0TX, and this is K0TOR, serving as net control. Are they special announcements or bulletins for the net this evening? If so, please call out.
K0VBA, Jim.
And next control, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome the following announcement. KA0VBA, Curtis. Go ahead with your announcement, Curtis, and I'll get you checked in.
Thank you, Jim. I'm going to be moving out of state. I'll soon be listing my QTH with a realtor. But if a ham wants to come and make an offer on it early, that'd be fine. I'll be cleaning out some stuff, some ham radio stuff this week. So give me a call at 303-424-7373. Thank you.
K0VBA, this is K02R. Well, sorry to hear you're going to be moving, Curtis. I assume that you're going to be out of range of us, so take care, and we'll look forward to hearing from you from time to time, see how things are going. But have a safe move and get up and get set up here in another location, get things settled down. All right, make a second call. Do we have anyone else that has special announcements or bulletins for the net this evening? If so, please call now.
AC0VC.
AC0VC, go ahead, Bill, that's yours.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. This is Bill, AC0VC. Anyone that is looking for testing, the Patriot VE team is doing a number of test sessions, and there is one actually tomorrow, November 29th at 7 p.m. in Centennial, December 5th at 9 a.m. in Denver, December 12th at 2 p.m. In Inglewood, the 19th at 9 a.m. at the American Legion in Elizabeth, and the 27th and back in Centennial. There's a whole list of these dates and access for it. If you go to hamstudy.org/sessions/W0PCT Papa Charlie Tango, you will see the upcoming sessions. And it is mandatory that you pre-register for these test sessions. It's done electronically. You take the test on your laptop or tablet. Testing is free. That's F-R-E-E. There is no charge for the testing. So if you go and you check out that website, again, hamstudy.org/sessions/W0 Papa Charlie Tango. And you'll see the whole list of test sites, locations. You got a map on there to help you find the correct location. Back over to you, Jim, AC0VC.
AC0VC, thank you for that, Bill. Do appreciate that. We did get you checked in as well. So if anybody needs sessions, sounds like you got a number of them coming up there, so appreciate that announcement. All right, before I move on, are there any further special announcements or bulletins for the net? If so, please call now. All right, before regular check-ins, I'd like to welcome and invite any visiting radio amateurs to check into the Denver Radio Club net this evening. During this net, we disable the requirement for the 100 Hz PO repeater access tone. So you can use either 145.490 megahertz with a minus 600 kilohertz offset, or 448.625 megahertz with a minus 5 megahertz offset. Are there any visiting radio amateurs who would like to check into the Denver Radio Club Net tonight? If so, please call now.
November 0, Juliet, Oscar, Delta.
And I heard somebody trying to check in, and all I could pick onto that was Juliet Oscar. And I had quite a bit of buzz on the signal. Could you try that again and see whether I can copy that?
November 0, Juliet, Oscar, Delta.
All right, we got it much better that time. November 0, Juliet, Oscar, Delta. Could I get a name for it, please?
Yeah, this is November 0, Juliet, Oscar, Delta. Name is Paul. The home QTH is Minnesota. And I'm here visiting family in Highlands Ranch. And listening on to your net this evening. Back to you, Jim, and thanks for your welcoming hospitality.
W0TX repeater.
And Net Control, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-in. N0JOD, Paul. Welcome to the net, Paul. And yes, I believe you checked in last week, and glad you checked in again this week. Glad to hear you from Minnesota. And hopefully the weather's better here, although, boy, I'll tell you, this weather here is not normal. It's certainly not normal summer or winter. You think summer has not left yet, but certainly hope you can enjoy it here. But, I know we need some moisture awfully bad. But, again, thanks for checking in, and hope you have a pleasant stay, and glad to hear from you again. Make a second call. Have any other visitors who would like to check into the Denver Radio Club Net tonight? If so, please call now.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Hotel Echo Golf, James in North Glen.
And Net Control, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-in. KF0HEG, James. Welcome to the net tonight, James. Glad to have you join us. And just out of curiosity, how did you find us?
I've been listening to the channel for about a year now, and from North Glen.
Well, very good. Sorry it took that long before you checked in and let us know you were there, but glad to have you join us. And if there's anything we can help you with, certainly don't hesitate to call on us. That's what the hobby's all about. And many things are quite complicated, and we've all struggled with them in time. So please don't hesitate to call and ask questions. There's no dumb questions. We probably have all been there ourselves, so just feel free to pose a question, and we'd be glad to try and help you. Anyways, welcome to the net, and thanks for joining us.
KF0HEG, thank you, and 73.
Thank you, James. And let me make one more call. Are there any other visiting radio amateurs that would like to join us on the Denver Radio Club Net tonight? If so, please call now. All right, next I'd like to welcome and invite any newly licensed or recently upgraded radio amateurs to check in. Please call now. I will now take regular check-ins in groups. Please let me know if you have traffic when you check in, and I'll get back to you. First, radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters A through E, Alpha through Echo. Please call now.
Kilo 0, Bravo, Kilo Sierra, Barb in Wheat Ridge. No traffic.
Whiskey Bravo 0, Alpha Kilo Victor, WB0, AKV, Rich in Westminster, no traffic.
November 5, Charlie Mike Kilo, Greg in Denver, no traffic.
N0 ETV, Lance, Aurora, no traffic.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Alpha Foxtrot Quebec, Troy in Denver, no traffic.
KA5 DKS Ken in Arvada.
Kilo Charlie 0, Charlie Zulu, Bob in Thornton.
And Net Control, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-ins. Had a double right at the beginning. Copied K0 DPR Paul and W0 BKS Barb. Then WB0 AKV Rich, N5 CMK Greg, N0 ATV Lance, KF0 AFQ Troy, KA5 DKS Ken, and KC0 CZ Bob. Make a second call for radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters A through E, Alpha through Echo. Please call now.
November 0, Bravo, Uniform Papa, John in Central Arvada, no traffic.
Net Control, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-in. N0 BUP, John. Move on down the alphabet. Radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters F through J, Foxtrot through Juliet. Please call now.
Alpha 0, Juliet Kilo, AA 0, JK, Fred in Arvada. Good evening, no traffic.
W0 GV, Jerry Westminster.
Kilo 6 Hotel Juliet Victor, K6H JV Tom Arvada, no traffic.
Whiskey 0, India Bravo Alpha, Eric in Hudson, no traffic.
November 0, Golf Tango Golf, Kurt in Denver, no traffic.
Net Control would like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-ins. AA0JK Fred, and W0GB Jerry, K6HJV Tom, W0IBA Eric, and N0GTG Kurt. Make a second call for radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters F through J, Foxtrot through Juliet. Please call now.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Foxtrot Papa India, Ron in Lakewood, no traffic.
Net Control, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-in. KF0FPI, Ron. Move on down the alphabet. Radio amateurs call suffixes begin letters K through O, Kilo through Oscar. Please call now.
W0.
Kilo 0 Lima Papa Romeo Lanier and Inglewood.
Kilo 0, Kilo Papa Sierra, Kevin Lakewood. Kilo Echo 0, Oscar Sierra India, Tom Highlands Ranch, no traffic.
Whiskey 0, Mike Delta Kilo, Matt in Denver, no traffic.
Net Control would like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-ins. K0LPR Lanier, K0KPS Kevin, KE0OSI Tom, and W0MDK Matt. Make a second call for radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters K through O, Kilo through Oscar. Please call now. Moving down the alphabet, radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters P through T, Papa through Tango. Please call now.
Kilo Echo 0, Romeo Victor Zulu, John, Lakewood, no traffic.
Please copy Kilo 0, Tango Oscar Charlie, David in Evergreen, no traffic, over.
November 0, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood, good evening.
And Net Control would like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-ins. KE0RVZ John, K0TOC David, N0TRP Jim. Make a second call for radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters P through T, Papa through Tango. Please call now. Moving down the alphabet, radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters U through Z, uniform through Zulu. Please call now.
KF0UV, Marshall in Glendale.
November 6, Whiskey Hotel Victor, Dick in Arvada.
Kilo Delta 0, Whiskey Papa Quebec, Tom in Aurora.
Kilo 0, Yankee Echo Sierra, Ken in Broomfield.
And Net Control would like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-ins. KF0UV Marshall. And Dick, I got N6 question mark with a suffix. Could you come back with that, please?
Whiskey Hotel Victor, Whiskey Hotel Victor, Dick in Arvada.
thanks, Dick. November 6th, Whiskey Hotel Victor. And next I had KD0WPQ Tom and K0YES Ken. Move on down the alphabet, radio amateurs whose calls. Oh, I'm sorry, I need to make a second call. Make a second call for radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters U through Z, uniform through Zulu. Please call now.
KV0UIG, Michael G, Edgewater, no traffic.
WD0CIV, WD0CIV, Charles in Denver, no traffic.
Kilo Sierra 0 Echo, KS0E, Alex in Denver.
And at control, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-ins. KE0UIG Michael, WD0CIV Charles, and KS0E Alex. Then we'll put the entire alphabet, radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin letters A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Please call now. All right, next I'll invite our club president, Jerry Billhauer, W0GB, cover club business. Go ahead, Jerry, the net is yours.
Hey, Jim. Well, thanks for doing that. Welcome, everybody. Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving and enjoyed that. Kathy and I sure did. We've been looking into, face-to-face meetings and the possibilities, which are looking pretty slim. We've checked into the courthouse, and nothing's changed there. They're still just doing internal stuff, and with the rise, all the COVID-19 stuff and the mask mandates, and who knows what's coming next. It doesn't look too promising. But we keep checking, we keep looking at alternatives and so forth. So rest assured, it's top on our mind, that's for sure. Love to get back together and see everybody, but it's a difficult thing. In these times here, our next meeting will be December 15th. So the Wednesday being, the first being on a Wednesday, it gives us backs our third Wednesday up, so we're not going to get in the midst of Christmas. So I'll look forward to that, and let me drop a sec. Anyway, it will be a virtual meeting as we've been doing for the past, 2 years. And our program will be on batteries, different kinds of batteries and all. And our roundtable and updates on the website will be coming out shortly. We usually try to have all that out on or before the first of the month, so that'll be upcoming. And it ought to be an interesting program, that's for sure. We all use batteries in our HTs and other things, so it ought to be a very informative program. I think that's about all that I have, and thanks for checking in, and back to you, Jim, W0GV.
W0TX Repeater.
W0GV, this is K02R. Thank you, Jerry, for that. And I did not copy anyone that had traffic tonight, so this is the Denver Radio Club Net, W0TX, and this is K02R Net Control Station. Does anyone have any other comments, information, or business for the net? If so, please call now.
November 1, Zulu Tango Tango, Dan in Denver with late check-in.
And Net Control like to acknowledge and welcome the following check-in. November 1, Tango Tango, Dan. And I'll make one more call. Any other comments, information, or business for the net? Please call now. All right, do we have any late check-ins? Please call now. All right, I'll now go through and review upcoming Hamfests and next weekend's contest.
Come to be. Well, we have a debt of gratitude to folks in Boulder. DSES was originally formed in 1991 in Boulder to restore those twin 60-foot dishes there on Table Mountain. So those dishes up at Table Mountain had been sitting idle for 20 years, and some hams and people around Boulder got permission to restore them, and they did. And they had some good success. And about the same time that DSES formed, there was this kind of a splinter group, another group called EOSS. You've probably heard of them. It's the Edge of Space Sciences. They're the ones that launch weather balloons, and you can track them on APRS. So we'll have an APRS transponder on the weather balloon, and you can track it. And so EOSS started from some of the same people at the same time up in the Boulder area. I wonder, after 9/11, HAMS lost access to Table Mountain. Table Mountain is a federal research site, the Site 22, T22. After 9/11, the attacks then, everything tightened down and clamped down. HAMS lost access to that site. And so meanwhile, the Haswell site had been dormant from 1974 to 2009. Paul Plishner, he was a radar contractor in Boulder. He actually purchased the site at government auction. So you know how it is with the government. When the government is done with something, they have to wait 10 years, and then they can actually auction it off. I don't know what he got it for, but he never actually used it. And these guys in Boulder at DSES developed relations with him, and eventually he donated the site in Haswell to DSES. So DSES now owns that. It's the dish, and there's 5 acres there. And so what the Boulder group did, starting in about 2009, is they moved a comm trailer down there from Table Mountain, and it had equipment and gear, and they started refurbishing and restoring the dish in Haswell. And then, I think on this, there's a PDF on here that you can put on your computers, or you can read some of the other details later. So I'm going to talk about what's not shown on the slide, but the Boulder group started the restoration, and there was kind of a transition from Boulder to Colorado Springs as the Boulder group found out how far it is to drive down there. They would go down there and spend a weekend, but it's pretty rudimentary. We only got electricity a couple of years ago down there. The government ran it on generators. So the membership, but there were there was 3 people, especially key members, that they would spend weekends down there cleaning and getting the dust off and restoring that, and just rebuilding the whole thing. And they could do that because they had done it there for the Boulder dishes, so they kind of knew what to do because they're the same dish. As the membership kind of transitioned into Colorado Springs, then over the last 3 or 4 years, it's more members from Colorado Springs area than there are from other parts. And we got electricity in there. If you live in the country, you know that if you're past the end of the line, you get to pay to bring the line down. And that
December 5th until 11:59 hours Zulu.
money was donated. I've got internet down there right now, and it's just DSL, the old style DSL, but that's what we have. They've installed a complete new dish control system. It was an analog system, which still works, but we now have a completely automated dish control system for tracking. So we can track in azimuth and elevation, and that's just based on a gamma ray, X-ray, ultraviolet astronomy. We launch satellites. You can't do it from the ground. From the ground, you can do visible. So you can have your optical telescope here at visible. Infrared is not too good. Most infrared telescopes are above the atmosphere. They're in low Earth orbit. This is the sweet spot for us. If we're doing ground-based radio astronomy with a telescope, this is where we operate in these wavelengths. And I think I say over there, it's roughly, it's just a rough number, 5 megahertz up to about 30 gigahertz, more or less, is the region where the atmosphere is transparent. So signals coming down don't get bounced off or deflected. We can actually receive them. Now, the radio waves, you already know this, the radio waves out here at 1 meter, 10 meters are much, much longer than the visible light wavelengths. So accordingly, a radio telescope must be much larger. That's why they build huge dishes or build interferometers where they connect together several dishes to do radio astronomy. And I don't think it shows on this little frequency on the band plan here, but it does show if you look at a bigger, like the IEEE frequency spectrum allocation chart, it'll show you all the frequencies that are allocated for radio and TV and commercial use and civil and military. And in there's little segments that are allocated for radio astronomy. Those are protected. Those specific frequencies are key ones, and we'll see some here later. Those are important for to protect them from RFI, radio frequency interference. So we have one of the same goals. Now, I want to talk about, I want to talk about 3 projects you can try at home. You don't have to have a 60-foot dish. You don't have to drive to Haswell. These are the next 3.
131.8 hertz field tone.
Still going. All right.
Slides are projects that you can try at home. They're not that difficult, and it's a great way to get started if you're interested in radio astronomy. The first one is called Radio Jove. And the basic idea here is you can monitor radio storms on Jupiter. So Jupiter, no surprising, since it's the largest planet, it has, after the sun, it has the largest magnetic field. The magnetic field of Jupiter actually extends out almost to the orbit of Saturn. So it's a very large magnetic field there. And these radio emissions are in the HF band. So something that enhances these storms is Jupiter's moon Io. If you've ever looked at Jupiter in a telescope, sometimes you'll see the 4 moons that Galileo saw, or you'll see the shadows of the 4 big moons, but Io is one of the principal moons. It's when it goes by where some of these storms are, it increases the intensity of the storm. So Io's orbit is easy to predict. And that's what this software, it's from radiosky.com. They have software tools that simply predict the orbit of Io. That's well known. And as Io goes over certain spots on Jupiter, it enhances the radio emissions there from the magnetic storms, and then we can detect them. So for more project information, this is actually a NASA-sponsored project. NASA's been doing this for about 20 years. A lot of high school and college students get interested in doing it. The antenna, and it's exactly like ham radio, the antenna is it. The antenna is the main thing in all this stuff. So the antenna for Radio Jupiter is this dual dipole arrangement, and it's a half wavelength. We're operating at 20.1 megahertz, so roughly at 20 megahertz. We have one dipole here, another dipole, and they're pointing towards Jupiter. So you kind of point it towards the general region where Jupiter is in the plane of the ecliptic. And then you just run this, your coax in. Any SDR will work. We're using
PL on.
And this is K02R. I'll be clear. Good night all.
Thanks again, everyone, for being here this evening. Let's see here. Sorry. I've been listening to the Denver Radio Club Sunday Night Net, Weekly Net here. Thanks, everyone, for joining in on that, as well as joining in on the W0TLM Tri-Lakes Monument Ham Radio Club here. Recent meeting video in regards to the Deep Space Exploration Society. So I'll watch a couple more minutes of that, and then we'll wrap things up here. So thanks everyone for being here, and hopefully everyone is doing well this evening.
Flex right now, but any SDR will work. And so then you can visualize over there on the right, you can visualize the bursts that come from the storms on Jupiter. And there's basically two kinds. There's a long burst and a short burst, and you can visualize them, or with a little sound card, you can listen to them. You can actually hear the crack, crackle, and pop, and then you'll hear the short burst or a long burst. So the way Jupiter's orbit is, for the last year or so, it's been fairly quiet. When it was closer to the sun, it's getting further away. We'll be able to detect these. So we're kind of moving into the season of listening to Jupiter's radio storms over the next year. And so they had one of these, be moving it around. But we can do, transmitters are huge. I forget what the wavelength is there. Not just us, but worldwide. This one is called SID. It stands for Sudden Ionospheric Disturbance. And it's caused by solar flares. So the basic idea here is you're going to be monitoring the military VLF transmission. So the military worldwide, not just us, but worldwide, military uses very low frequency transmitters to communicate to the submarines underwater, because VLF goes through everything. So it's way down at 15 to 25 kilohertz. These transmitters are huge. I forget what the wavelength is there at VLF, but it's on the order of miles. So these are very long wavelengths. And you're just monitoring the carrier signal, much like if you're monitoring WWV during a solar eclipse or something like that. You're monitoring carrier. Down here on the right-hand corner, basically it's showing 1 day. So this chart shows 24-hour period, and the purple is the nighttime. When the sun comes out, you lose about half your signal strength. But then there's those 4 spikes there, and those were solar flares, 4 different solar flares at 1 day. The solar flares cause disruption in the ionosphere, which causes disruption in the propagation of these VLF signals, which you can monitor. And all that data goes to something called the Stanford Solar Center. Stanford collects this from monitors all over the world, 24/7, and then they can quickly correlate. And because the flare may appear stronger in different regions, so they can quickly correlate that medium. So one of the guys in our club, he has one of these mounted on his wall in his house, and he's porting data 24/7 to Stanford. So you don't have to put it outside in the rain. But that's an interesting, easy way to get started. And you don't have to go to Haswell for that. And the third one is neutral hydrogen. This is another project. You can do it at home. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. Neutral hydrogen, the neutral hydrogen gas is the main component of something we call the interstellar medium. So the medium between stars is not vacuum. Sometimes they think, oh, there's nothing in outer space. Outer space is full. It's packed with hydrogen gas, with some other molecules, and with dust. So there's these dust and hydrogen clouds floating around in between stars, and that's called the interstellar medium. And so we can observe this spectral line, and then we can use our observations to map the bright objects using either a small dish. It can be as small as about a 3 meter, about a 9-foot dish, or a horn antenna. Some people make a simple microwave horn antenna out of a coffee can or something like that. So it's not a big deal. So over here on the left, and sometimes I wonder, well, okay, neutral hydrogen, how can we pick that up on radio? So here's a picture of a neutral hydrogen atom. Hydrogen has one proton, one electron, no neutron. So that's it, a proton and an electron. And it's showing their spin orbit. Both of them have the upspin. They're both spinning in the same direction.
Thanks everyone for joining here. Just a couple minutes here on the W0TLM Tri-Lakes Monument Radio Club. Thanks everyone for joining. W0TLM.com for more information on them. Colorado registered 501c3 nonprofits. Plenty of more information on them. Again, W0TLM.com as well as W0TLM on their YouTube. A lot of talks and a lot of info on there. A lot of info on our club, W0TX.org. Thanks again, everyone, for being here this evening. I hope everyone is doing well this evening. This is Daron, K1DBC. I'm glad everyone found their way this evening here. With that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Appreciate everyone being here. So, again, K1DBC signing off. And 7-3 to all. And we'll talk to you all soon.